Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we'll be on this beautiful A-line gown with some plaits at the hem and then organza sleeve. If this is the first time of stopping by, do wait to hit on the subscribe button, and to my old subscribers I say thank you very much for all your support, and let's get straight into the video. So for this style I'll be using this fabric. I have about 2 years of fabric here, but this depends on how big or small your child is. So I folded my fabric into two. I'll be cutting the back and the front separately because I'm trying to manage my fabric. And what I have here is my bust measurement divided by 2, what I folded, plus stitching allowance, 1 inch stitching allowance, plus 3 inches for, it's an A-line gown from the waist to the hem, for plus 3 inches. And then from some inches for my pocket, I'll be cutting the pocket together with the body. So I have here a total of 16 inches on fold. So by the time you open it up, you have 36 inches. So that's what we have here, and I am cutting this for a 9 to 10 year old. So I'm going to go ahead and take my measurements, the length of the gown. Remember the gown has some plating at the hem part of it, so I'm going to be taking out 3 inches for that. So the length of my gown is supposed to be 32, but I'm marking at 29 inches. That's minus 3 inches. So I'll mark at, this is our starting point. I'll mark the line straight afterwards. Let me connect this line first. And then for the length of the gown, remember I said I'll be marking 29 inches plus ½ inch stitching allowance. I'll be adding the other ½ inch at the shoulder part. Then our starting point is going to be, this is all my measurements. So I'll be taking my shoulder measurement at, my shoulder is 12 inches divided by 2 is 6. I'll be adding ½ inch stitching allowance to be able to attach my sleeve. And then from there I'm going to go down by my shoulder measurement divided by 2 for my bust point. But because it's not a fitted gown, I'm going to be adding ½ inch to it, and then ½ inch for the shoulder slope. So I'll be marking at 6.5 inches. Once I am done with that, I'll also connect the shoulder measurement to make the bust point. Then for my neckline, if you look at it, you see that it has a small neckline, but I'm going to be marking my own wider. So I'm marking 3 inches wider at the neck depth. I'll be marking 3 inches by 3.5 inches. Then I'll go ahead and connect this for a round neck. Then for the shoulder slope, I'm going down by ½ inch, and then I'll connect it to the starting point. I'm set to use my free hand today. So for my bust point divided by 4 is 7.5 inches. And then I'm going to be adding 1 inch for ease because it's not so fitted. And then I'm adding ½ inch stitching allowance. Yes, I'm doing with ½ inch. You can do more than ½ inch. So I'll go ahead and connect my armhole, just the regular armhole. So once I am done with that, I'll measure whatever I have here. I have 9 inches here. I'm going to go ahead and transfer that 9 inches to this side of the gown, to the hemming part of the gown. So I'll mark 9 inches. And then I'm adding extra 3 inches to this because of the slanted curve. But if you look at the style, you can see that this A-line effect did not start from the bust. It started around the waistline. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my half length measurement, which is 13 inches. Then I'll connect this line straight because my waist bust and my waist are the same thing. And then from here I'll come out into the hemming side of it. I hope we get this. So this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. But before cutting it out, at this waistline, my pocket is going to start from my half length. So I'll go ahead and mark the length of my pocket. For this I have 6.5 inches, and then for the width of it I'm marking 6 inches. So I'll go ahead and cut down this way. So I hope we get it now, so that the pocket will be balanced instead of having to be having to be sharp. It's going to have a deep effect at this point. That's why I came down here and then I came down here. So I'll go ahead and cut this. So when you look at this, you see that I increased this side by 1 inch. I wanted it to be more A-line, to have more A-line form. So I just added extra 1 inch. So here we have 4 inches. I'm adding half inch stitching allowance at this point. So this is what we have. So guys, this is it after cutting the back. You can see I added my zipper allowance. I added 1 inch zipper allowance, and then the neckline of the back is higher, so that's the only difference. Then for the sleeve, I folded my fabric. I am cutting the back and the front together, so I folded my fabric into 4. And what I have here, and because this sleeve is a big sleeve, we are going to be cutting double of our round sleeve measurement. So my round sleeve is 11 inches. If you divide it into 2, it will be 5.5, but we are not cutting at 5.5. I will just cut that 11 inches. Then I'm adding 1 inch stitching allowance to 8. And then for my sleeve cap, I'm coming down about 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect this with my free hand this way. Then this length of my sleeve is, I'll be using 10 inches for this because it's a big sleeve. So by the time it pulls up, it arrives at the right measurement. Then I'm adding 2 inches stitching allowance to it. I know that you guys can see this. If you don't know how to cut your basic sleeve, I have the tutorial in my channel. Please check it out. So you understand how to cut basic sleeve very well. So all I did is just double my sleeve measurements. My sleeve measurement, I doubled it. That's how I got my sleeve for this. So this is what you have. And since my sleeve is straight, opening the organza is quite kind of difficult. So this is what you have. I'll open up my front bodies, and I'll also open up my back bodies, and I'll be doing front, first facing front at this point on the arm, on the neck, shoulder, the 2 shoulders by half an inch. And this pocket, if you don't want to cut it together, that you don't have enough fabric, all you have to do is to cut off. You see this line? Let me use this. You connect your this lower side of it into the waistline. You connect it this way, then cut out a separate pocket and then join it to this bodice. I hope you understand. So if your fabric is not enough to cut together, you don't need to worry yourself. Just cut out a separate pocket and then join it together to the. Then for the sleeve, you can see what we have. Remember we said we cut out the front and the 2 sleeves together. So I'm going to go ahead and fold by half of an inch and then fold over again by 1 inch, or as my elastic can pass through, and I'll stitch it all the way from the beginning to the end, and I'll do the same thing for this other sleeve. Then once I am done with that, I'm going to open up. You can see I've already piped my neckline. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, so I've piped my neckline after joining the shoulders. So I'll bring in the sleeve. That's after we are done working on it, hemming it and attaching the elastic. I'll place it this way, front facing front. I'll stitch all the way to the, as I'm getting towards the shoulder, I'm going to plait all the excesses there and then stitch to the end of the sleeve, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. So before we attach it to the bodice, just like I said, you're going to first of all work on the elastic before that. So I'll go ahead and pass the elastic. So I just measured my round sleeve. I didn't add any allowance, nothing else. I don't want it to be too tight. So I'll use my elastic pin. I'll stitch it down, then continue bringing it out. Once I get to the end, I will secure it with stitch as well. So this is what we have after we are done with the elastic attachment, and I also attached it to the bodies as well. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to do front facing front, and then I will stitch it down all the way from the beginning to the end. Remember I added half inch, so you're going to stitch by how many inches that you added for your stitching allowance. Stitch the way you see me show you guys to the end, and I will do the same thing for the other side. So guys, this is what we have after stitching it down. You can see how beautiful it's coming out. So for this plates at the hem area, I'm going to be doubling. I'll measure this that area, and then I'll double my measurements. You can triple yours if you want yours to be for the place to be more. So I'll first of all hem this, and then I'll place it front facing front, and I'll start making place. And remember what I said, this place depends on how much fabric that you have. Mine isn't so much, but the plates were reasonable, so I doubled my measurement just like I mentioned. So I'll keep plating, and this your plating should be one side, that you should be facing one side. You don't want to mess up with your work. So once you stitch your zipper allowance, you can start making your plate just like you see me show you guys. And this also depend on how much fabric you have. If you don't have much fabric, please do it to keep space after each place, and then you keep plating till you get to the end. So once we are done, this is what we have. You can see, just like I said, mine isn't so much, but is beautiful. If you want yours to be more than this, you increase your measurement for that area. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to close up my zipper allowance and then attach my zip. That's all for this style, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.